and SAS Gurkha, the elite of the elite. Of 30,000 applicants, only 180 become Gurkhas. Historically, just 0.1% of the British Army applicants make it into the SAS. Fewer than a dozen men have done both. Among this elite few is Krishna Thapa, one of the most operationally deployed soldiers in history.
The legend goes that whenever a Gurkha draws his kukri in anger, he must also draw blood.
Because they come from martial clans in Nepal. And some of the clans, have this particular tradition of being the warriors.
I travelled to Nepal to meet up with Krishna Thapa, a man shrouded in mystery, believed to be one of the most elite fighters in the world. On this trip, Chris shares with me his stories and secrets and takes me on a journey through the 5 elements. He believes these rituals were essential to unlocking the warrior within.
By only understanding that spirit within us, the warrior within them has the ability to conquer outside. Either we liked it or not like, everyone is climbing the mountain in life. Everyone is fighting their own battle within ourselves. And if we don't have the warrior within us, then we're going to lose. Eventually, the whole world going to collapse within us. So we have to find some sort of warrior within us. Then when we survive with that war to walk into the life of mindful, then that's where our realization and the mastery of the surviving has to come with the realization and the understanding of truly who we are. It's like every coin has a 2 sides, but we often focus on one side and forget the other side. But actually, the whole world is day and night, hot and cold. And that's how the world is existing. But then if you wanted to be full-fledged living human being, if you want to be full special force soldiers, if you want a full physical instructor, whatever we do in life, we have to harness the both ends so that we can have a great vision, but also live our life fully, accomplished and understanding and healthy and happy. I am born here, about 30-40 kilometers to the southeast in Himalayas, and joined the Gurkhas in 1995, and then to SAS about 20 years. Actually, I trained for the Gurkhas is, maybe 5-6 kilometers from here, just literally on the Pokhara. That's where I joined the Gurkha. And the Gurkha camp is in the city where we are now, just in the Pokhara. And hopefully we're going to see that tomorrow. Oh, we're going to go inside, let's see. And then, I did the training there, over a few years before joining the Gurkha. 20 years career serving with the, in SAS. I have to say they are the best in the world. If you drop any of the SAS operator in here in jungle, they will make it through somehow. They can be in the water, they can be in the mountain, they can be in the, whatever elements of the life, they have the ability to overcome that. We don't have the understanding what is the spiritual and science behind to do that.
but somehow they got it within themselves, the mastery of their self to overcome all the key elements of the whole universe. That means whole self, isn't it? We are part of the universe. By only understanding that, spirit within us, the warrior within them has the ability to conquer outside. If you can't conquer the warrior within ourselves, understand, forget about the outside. There is no chance. We are already losing. So only by winning our own warrior, enhancing, then we can increase and overcome any mission and determination from outside, because end of the day is the same.
The Gurkhas have forged a legacy built on strength, loyalty and honour. Named after the hill regions of Gurkha, these soldiers first caught the world's attention during the Anglo-Nepalese War of the early 1800s. The British, struck by their courage and skill, began recruiting them into their ranks, a partnership that has lasted over 2 centuries. Since then, Gurkhas have served in every major conflict involving the British forces, from the World Wars to the Falklands, Iraq and Afghanistan.
More than 200,000 Gurkhas fought for Britain in the First World War. 20,000 were killed or injured. In World War II, some 250,000 took on the Germans at Tobruk and Monte Cassino and the fanatical Japanese in the Far East. They suffered 23,655 casualties.
Known for their unshakable discipline and the iconic kukri blade, which is a symbol of both survival and strength, they fight not for glory, but from a deep-rooted sense of duty. To this day, the name Gurkha commands respect worldwide, not just for their military fearlessness in battle, but for their humility, loyalty, and the proud traditions of the Nepalese people. Their story is not just one of war, it is one of identity, honour, and legacy. What does it say, Chris?
The way of the pilgrims, go as a pilgrim and seek out danger, far from comfort and well-lit verses of life. Pit your very soul against the unknown and sink stimulation in the company of the brave. Experience cold and hunger, heat and thirst, and survive to see another challenge and another down. Only then you will be at peace with yourself and be able to know and to say, I look down on the farthest side of the mountain and fulfill and understanding all. I am truly content that I live a full life and one that was on my own choice.
So we were at the military camp yesterday, the Gurkha selection camp, and there was one of these exact trees there too. Speak about sort of the military philosophy behind it and the resonance of having one of those trees there and what went on around that tree.
I think that's a great memory after almost like 30 years going back to the, we call the Pokhara Gurkha selection camp, where all the Gurkhas come from different part of the Nepal on their final stage, and they go inside this British camp. We call the British Gurkha Nepal Gurkha selection camp. And then in the center of the camp, we call the Chautara. Chautara is where the people and place, especially in the village in the Nepal, if something key decision has to made in like whether you're having a good marriage or you're having a divorce or you're having a holy time like yesterday, and including any of these key decision point, and we call the Sachi. Sachi is a witness. So similar like that, in this camp, we have this called Chautari with the Swamiko tree, which is like tree of, like enlightened tree in the middle. Then when we have a selection, when you have a, pass or fail, imagine about 30,000 applicants, only 180 pass. So there's a series of, decision making and pass and fail. But we all come down to so many times around that tree, Swami tree, sit down. Then our instructors, the British Gurkha, soybean guy used to comment, and they say like, you go this part of the tree and then other part, and they will just divide in two groups, and we don't know which group is pass or fail. And later on this day, this side of tree will pack your bag and go home, and this side of group now go back to the A block, the one we see yesterday, that's A, B, C block. So eventually you coming to the, like if you go past, then you will consolidate because the group are smaller, then they will put one smaller block. I had a very vivid memory in this Chautara. And I remember sitting on here, and then they will call the name, but the thing is, we don't know calling name, you failing or passing. They will put, okay, this call name goes this one, and then other name goes that way, and then end of the day, and they were like, okay, this side will pack your bag, go home, and this side will stay inside. So that's my first phase, that side of the building. That's where I started my first phase selection. Then I wanted to pass that. When I passed it, I think I came here on the upstairs. That second phase. Then you did the oath and all the parade, everything here. It's the last day, kind of, last final. Memories. So many memories, yeah, just touching the Indian jacket and then like salute.
So this is called Doko, right? Doko means bamboo basket. And this is the thing that we carry load.
Is that the load?
As a load, oh. So
okay.
The standard has gone down. I mean, the load, that's what I say. But now the weight they carry is 15 kilo. I carried 25 kilo. I think I carried 35 kilo.
35 kilo? Oh, gosh.
You carried 35 kilo.
Did I? Oh, my God. I wonder why. Now we're talking. Okay. Of course, yeah. Doko, but that's what it looks.
Now 15. But the distance is longer. Distance is longer.
Can I try?
For the forehead.
Can try. I think.
Spending time with Krish, it's easy to forget what makes him so revered. His calm, warm demeanor hides behind it a story, one of honor, courage, and pain. Seeing Krish return to the same place where he trained, it became clear to me what made him so elite.
And then run. Oh, or should I run with the Crocs? And then run, guys. How many? Yeah, it's like I say, apparently it's 15 kg. We used to have 35 kg, so.
To solve in Gurkhas.
How old
Yeah, 15. There you go. If I'm honest with you, even though I've been very honored and privileged to grow up with this culture, I never realized the implement and effect of those elements within me until, when I'm deep into the shit, basically, when I lost my friends, when I lost so many close relationship, then we always go to the dark end. Then when you're in the dark end, that's where they start, the bubbling, everything, and then you don't know what you're doing and why, what is the purpose of life. Then we struggle. That's how I connect my elements of life. That's how I connect the 4-year-old kid in Krishna, run around in the Himalayas, try to worship this, nature and 5 elements. And that gave me the answer, when I'm in that deep moment in the wartime, and that's where I realized actually, we have to master truly who we are. And by mastering our own, like the 5 elements, that will give us the willpower to whatever I put the vision on, then I can put my, vision for the right purpose. Like I'm doing this one because that give me the power. The power is my family, my parents, and then the country that hold my family safe. And that's how you can put and focus.
Krish currently runs a retreat and is passionate about taking guests through a journey of the 5 elements. Tomorrow I start that journey. Before beginning the Warrior Monk retreat, I was apprehensive. It's not something I would typically do.
The key core component is about life. The 5 fundamental elements being not in every life, not actually in the human life, every living being in the whole universe. If we understood the 5 elements, which is actually everyone's hands, if they can look up their hands, they got 5 fingers, we got 5 senses, and we have the 5 elements for us to complete conscious human being. And if we can master these 5 senses, 5 elements, 5 different body of the human, physical body, sensational, emotional, and psychological body, which come down to look into the specific elements is the thumbs represent the fire elements, and the index finger represent the air elements, and middle finger represent the space or ether elements, and then the ring finger represent the earth or the food we eat every day, and the pinky, the smaller finger, represent the water. If we master these 5 elements for human being, then we shouldn't have any chronic disease, illness within us. So the whole aim of this retreat is to explore more in deep and find the real dot within us, how far we can channel in, so that we can process each elements of complete human being and transform and transcend our limitation. And that, became the retreat, and change actually find who truly we are. So that is the, retreat. Here we are now, Nepal, the place of the Gurkha, to realize that and to understand the key 5 elements, the fire, the air, the space, the food, and the water. So this is the aim and the vision of this whole the retreat. So each elements have the driven, force within us. So especially fire, what we recognize as a willpower. If you have feeling depressed, if you are feeling low, then within you, the fire elements going down. So the some things fire that is not burning, it should be the willpower, the strength, and the transformation. Sometimes being a fire within us could be, gaslighting for something which we are not, wanted to time span. But that means we need to transform we need to have a fire within us for us to alive. But how can we find the right vision, right color, right environment, right people to transform? So fire represents, first of all, willpower to find the warrior within you. Let's be honest, being alive, standing here, we need to have some sort of willpower to step on. That came from the fire. And also, the transformation, basically, if you look at the fire itself, if we don't have the other elements, if you don't have a food, if you don't have oxygen, if you don't have air, the fire doesn't work. For us to exist, the fire, all the key elements has to be present, but the only we are lacking up and we're suffering is our 5 key elements are not working in harmony and peace within us. So that's why when we're looking at the fire, how is my willpower? How is my strength? How is my, action, what I'm gonna do? I'm doing the right action. So without fire, there is no warrior. No warrior means we cannot survive today world. The fire is willpower, energy, and strength.
Because we call the hand at our second mind, because whatever feeling here goes straight to our body. So we are now connected with earth, with our feet, soul. We can obviously feel, then we can also got to hit the real truth. First of all, you wanted to let it go, put it in the fire and burn in front of you. And I want you to feel that heat. Pure energy coming from the deep soul.
There is still something holding me back from truly living at my fullest potential and authentically sharing my films and documentaries.
Releasing the pain, activating the nerve, everything that being gathering and immersing everything.
Now that I had healed that part of me, when Krish had asked me to look inward and find what I was trying to shift, I had to really think. Staring into the fire, I thought about what was truly holding me back. It had been myself all along. I didn't think I was worthy of sharing stories. I didn't think I was capable of making great films. I didn't think I had the ability to inspire change. I don't want to be the greatest filmmaker to ever lived, or the best documentary maker, or win a BAFTA or an Oscar. I just want to be able to share the stories authentically. I want to know that it's my true voice that shares the story. I don't want to do it for views. I want to do it because it feels right, because I think this is the thing that's going to help people. I knew as I looked into the flames that this is the thing I wanted to change. How's it being away from family so?
It's tough, man. It's very tough. In the ancient Himalayas way of life, when the man goes to deal with the death, when they come back from the cemetery or dealing with some bad situation, making some bad decision, they shouldn't come back to whole without touching the 5 elements like water, air, or some worshipping, and they shouldn't go and be with the family, especially the young kids. We shouldn't do that. Left her very young, and then when I come back, she obviously grown up, like 6-7 months, different person, but it's like maybe 4, 5 years old. And I come back, and my wife opened the door, and she's like, bullet coming to like, Daddy, and open arms. Oh shit, like, I can't hug her. I can't hug her because I know in my, beyond my conscious mind, in our culture, I've been grown up not to hug a young kids when you're coming from the dealing with the death and, like so much thing in my life. I refuse to hug her. Maybe in her subconscious mind, what stayed was like my father, my daddy refused to hug me. And that was pretty tough, man, But then I waited for years because I wanted to share with the family and with when she was, grown up. So I asked to forgive her when she's 16 this year, and we sat down with the fire, with like witness of fire, and I said Pretty, my wife and my daughter, sit down. Now we can grown up, I can share some what I've been holding me in my heart. So I sit down on the ground with the fire going on the side and bare feet, and I say like, I have to ask for forgive because, years before when I come back, I didn't hug you. Challenges we go through as a tour, as SF guys, and we don't see this thing, but I've been honored to have this understanding back of mind, to put it in a practical aspect and put it in a life-changing experience. We don't realize how much impact you have until you stand on that top and see. We are doing today's earth element. In the human body is represented as a food, what we take. All the food we take, day-to-day life, that's come from earth. And we're gonna do the ritual, the ancient Himalayan way of ritual, how we go and spend the time in the forest, on the earth, into the ground, bare feet, offering, touching with the mud, understanding everything comes from the earth soil, has a direct impact on us. Sit down with the under the forest canopy, and we recognize the importance of the air coming out from the tree, so that we visualize that one of our lungs is hanging on the tree. Because if the tree is not giving the oxygen for us, then we literally, it's hard to survive. So that recognizing that in our mind, actually, tree is my lungs.
It's a Krish, like you grew up in hills like this, and tell us about like the animals that you would encounter. And I heard that there's a story of your mum scaring away a particular animal with a pot and pan or something.
Yes, absolutely. So it's very true. Like I said, this is the kind of landscape. It's not far from here. And then, it's like I say, in our breed, we actually have a tiger here. And it's very common for the tiger to be, encounter with us. And we could, in a minute here. And then when I grown up, and especially one night, that's every night we can hear the tiger. But one night, and we had the small farm. We had the 2 pigs, and then the 2 buffaloes and cow and ox and a lot of goat and chicken. That's how we live our daily life in the Himalayas, in here. It's Gurkhas, land of Gurkha. So on one night we hear our pigs were like going crazy, like going on, and we were like, oh, it's a tiger. I was looking from the, from a small like a balcony, and she was beating the tiger. And tiger used to look at her like, maybe, I don't know, like, they're not gonna do anything. And then she started beating, and then my uncle, which is like maybe 100 or 200 meters other side, my uncle, who was Indian Gurkhas, retired Indian Gurkhas, and they used to come and shouting at her like, then tiger used to run away when they hear the man's voice. It's crazy. Whenever they hear the man's voice, they run away, but they must have come across over the tiger life. Oh, maybe women are not the killer. Maybe men are the killer. I don't know. I used to like surprise. So yeah, that's a true story. That's how I grow. Just a smaller, like this bit with you in your hand, and wherever the pen, wherever the something you wanted to go, and then I wanted to go around, find the tree on your own, round 3 clockwise, yeah, and then I wanted to visualize, whatever you're going through, whatever you wanted to, give back to the nature, or something you wanted to release from your thought process, or something what you are wish for. Then once you put on the bottom of that tree and visualize that the actually trees is giving a life for us. There is a constant new life.
Krish is a good friend, I trust him, and I knew that he had seen something in me that was blocked, and he wanted to help me. And that's why he invited me to join in, not just film the ritual, but to experience it. So as I stood there for the first few minutes, feeling like an idiot, I tried to let go, understanding that I could trust a friend here. I started to relax. I felt the warm air on my body, but then I started to notice, as Krish buried my feet in the soil, the cold feeling of the earth underneath my feet. The worms wiggled around my toes, and I heard the birds, felt the breeze. I heard the forest light up, and I started to truly feel connected. And this was the beginning of the journey. I looked forward to tomorrow, the water ritual.
We are off to today. Our elements is water. Yeah, we are water elements. So we're gonna go towards the water, and then we're gonna do the water ritual and how we master the water within ourselves. Like the SF, the Special Force SAS, we got the boat troop which master the movement in the water. So see already like so much connection. Everyone like what? When the people find out, shit. Yeah. But it's just true though. Yeah. We in the ancient wisdom we master 5 elements. In the SF we master the 5 elements.
Krish told me where this water was from. It trickled down from the top of the Himalayas, from the peaks of Everest, down to this little stream. In my head, it painted a picture of connection. Those mountain ranges so vast that this is where that water was from. And as the water washed through my body, I started to feel truly connected to the earth, to the universe, to the world. And in that moment, I felt so tiny, yet so big. I had a perspective shift. What was my purpose? What was I here for? How could I serve this world as part of it? I needed to get out of my own way. Krish claims that understanding the elements was crucial to him being a warrior. I was beginning to see the man who had been through hell, who achieved the most elite position, yet was the calmest and most caring man I'd ever met. It was the elements that made him this way.
Now we are in the water elements, and then the water represents to our emotion handle, and how stable within ourselves. But also, when you talk about the emotion and then the water, and it's the follow of the gravity, So if you imagine the mountain of Himalayas is representation of our head. Everything we create, thought and vision and, the direction of, like all the thought process happen in the head, but often we are not like nature. Because nature is allowed to pass us by. It's like a water and river, nothing gonna hold them. They just find the gravity and follow through its natural path. But we humans have a problem. Everything we come here and we try to get hold of. How can I hold this thing? How can I hold it here with that act we want to do? But I think we have to learn to let it go, just like with the nature, from the Himalayas of water, like following through the part of the river and then following to the ocean. And then in here, the water ritual is representation of that, physical aspect of a human being, then understand how the nature follow. Then, like when we're doing here, we let the water come from here, you dip in the water, so that as the water drips by our head and that thought and emotion, let it be that part, dip by your heart, take the emotion part, take all the emotion and our sexual organ to dip it by the water, your toes, and let it go with the water. It's the gravity, yeah, that allow you to same form. Imagine the frozen ice. You never moved, static. You became like, this is me, you know. No one come to me. Then you became water, start floating, and you go with the current, against the current. But if you change that water form to the vapor form, then no one can touch you. You just go with the flow. And
This would be the final ritual. I had questions. I still wanted to know about the last two elements, air and space. The two elements to touch upon was air, ether. What's the distinction between the two? How would you describe in layman's terms for each one?
so that's, to be honest, it's one of the hardest, elements to grasp in, like I said, in the conscious mind and conscious sensation world, because like out of 5 elements, like let's say 5 elements: fire, air, ether, food, or the earth and water. But out of ether and then the air, the fire, earth, and then the water, we can perceive we can see, we can touch, we can feel, we can taste. But those 2 elements, neither of the air or the space, is our conscious sense can't understand or can't grasp it. The air is energy that's applied for us to alive. Space is the whole thing which exists, everything in it. Without the space, and there is no balance, there is no stability. But without the air, there is no life, there is no being. Looking at my own experience, with in the special forces, one of the things we master the air and the space with the jumping, and then whenever we have the connection in the space and we master the air, then there is no distance. Distance will collapse basically. I think that's probably how to learn the speed within that airspace. It's up to you how much, what is your speed of momentum. The faster you can, grasp that distance, so faster you can achieve the surprise. Faster you can, master whatever you are occurring for your target or for your mission or for your own physical, well-being. I think that's probably the uniqueness of special forces, like either using the laser system or using the jump free fall system or using the most fastest driving system. So you master that distance, which is in the realm of the space and the air. I think that's, for me, it's like it takes me 30 years. To me, it's like a lot of like death and war, and then the mountain and climbing and realizing actually, this beautiful nature, and also the way we've grown up with this, the 1,000 years of untold, untouched ritual and the traditional we uphold. But we don't realize how important for us to be fully flourished and make that garden beautiful within us. And then I start realizing maybe, wouldn't be wonderful everyone can see, and then they somehow make their garden beautiful, because the garden we built within us, no one have access apart from ourselves, and it's rather be beautiful. So I think that's what I realized, that the connection, like 4 or 5 years old Krishna, born in this land, grown up this culture, fire ritual, water ritual, and space, everything, not understanding the like science behind, but go away, do the proper job and service and like dedication and commitment. But actually all the thing we achieve, we do in life, actually come from dot and connection, truly who we are when we are built young version. And that's where I realized, that 2 plus 2, and then realize, this is what I need to enhance within me, the elements who truly I made of, and then to like rather than put it under the cocoon, So let's clear that and then connection that and flourish to let my own inner being, inner child to be a lot more exposure, and then let's share that feeling of contentment and happiness and gratitude. It is very, that's the, if we don't find the true intention and purpose within us, then we almost forget who truly we are.
And that's the warrior is the
that's
purpose.
Warrior is the light, is the rear dot within us to show the path, to show what we really intention are. And we have to have that warrior within us. The inner child, inner warrior within us has to have intention and focus. I think if we are not nourishing our inner fire, inner warrior, and that is the biggest problem we're missing in this modern world. Then all the kids, all the people we have is now facing problem. That is what the biggest problem, the modern, we call suicidal. A lot of people are giving up because there is no hope, there is no faith, because that means they don't have an inner warrior within themselves to be, push forward. When everything collapses, when nothing is there, that's what the inner warrior give you the courage, determination, devotion. Otherwise, a lot of people ask when they're young, oh, what's the point, isn't it? There is no strength built in, and character has to condition in order to enhance our warrior within us. When we see through our sensation, we only see the surface wall, In order to go deeper, inner warrior, inner strength, nothing to do with sensation. It is do with energy and true, realization and reflection. That's how we pursue above our sensation. The process in here is everyone talk about death. Everyone see the death, And whenever we come, because process in that way, so that everyone aware, we all gonna die. I think if everyone can just bring in their mind day-to-day life, I'm here for the brief moment, for a couple of days, couple of years, then it will be gone. Then our intention for the future, then who truly we are, have a different purpose in life. We say in the Himalayas, we only eat from a mouth, which is only 20% of energy come from mouth. Rest of the, energy, it's come from outside. The energy from the sun, energy from the, water. Constantly we are part of this one. So we say, the constantly transcending our limitation. We say that if you master our physical body, we only master the 20% of truly who you are and your inner strength, inner warrior. And if you master your mind, then you master about 60% truly who you are, what is your vision. But if you master the energy that makes the 5 elements within us, then you master your life and your destiny and your true warrior. Have to win our own warrior. We have to win our own soul, overcome the death, so that actually we can win the war outside, whatever we're facing. By accepting our one self, we can accept the rest of the world.
Over the years, I've tried to share these stories in the best way I thought I could. And I hope, on occasion, I've done a good job. On day 4, when Krish had my feet buried in the earth, I felt connected again. I started to realize the inauthenticity was coming from the fact that I was so mission-driven that I lost sight of the purpose of these films, to inspire change. And it starts with me, with myself. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Have a blessed and productive day, and I hope you've enjoyed this one. As many of you know, we are independent creators and filmmakers, but there is a massive attack on us right now. Traditional media over the last few years has started to slowly die. They are no longer the independent voice that you first thought they were. That's why we've created Mulligan Brothers Patreon. We've built something special for our most dedicated supporters, and I want to break it down for you real quick. The supporter tier gets you ad-free early access to both video and audio versions of Mulligan Brothers interviews 24 hours before it goes public. The executive tier gets you everything that a supporter tier gets, plus more. Exclusive interviews and behind-the-scenes content, walk and talks, daily routines, unreleased interviews, the stuff that you don't see anywhere else. And finally, the executive producer tier. Everything from the supporter tier and the executive tier, plus exclusive perks. Access to our treatment packages. Be the first to see which guests are coming up and get insight into the topics we'll be discussing before anyone else. And you'll even get an executive producer credit on every single documentary that we make. So if you've ever wanted to support the Mulligan Brothers mission of inspiring change so we can go around the world and get these stories that nobody else will, this is exactly how you do it. Go to patreon.com/MulliganBrothers or click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. Join the community and help us inspire change.